Welcome to another episode of Modern Walk. Thank you for joining me today. With the day off and all that goodness, it was some interesting to go through the news. I'll go through all the drama happening at the World Cup. Obviously, everybody's trying to get one up on the other. But before we get into it, please comment, share, subscribe, and all those good things down below. So I think the story of the week, there's been a couple, it seems like New Zealand aren't going to take part in the Olympics for sevens. That's a shocker for me. Some other ones, like obviously some South Africans that are injured, Trevor Kanye, and we got... But I mean, also some other interesting stories coming from coaches and their opinions on certain things. But the biggest story for me this week has definitely been the tackles. Reece, Hodge, obviously given a 3-week ban, will not make it until the quarterfinals back into the World Cup. But there's been a couple of other big tackles. So we got the Samoan tackles in the game when they played Russia, and then we got the tackles against. They also got the English tackle against Owen Farrell. All of those players effectively have been cited now and have been given all 3-week bans. So this has become quite a controversy for players, for fans and everything, as they were all in various scales. And I mean, it's so tough to debate, and we can argue whether it matters or not, because as much as fans are moaning about it, the other teams, and it shouldn't matter to the grade of their offence, I agree with you, but effectively the ban is the same. Reece Hodge, 3 weeks, quarterfinal. He's going to play Australia most likely will make it to the quarterfinal, so it's not the end of the world. The USA, Samoa, those players, their World Cup is over. It is a huge thing for them. So, in my opinion, it's 6.5. I agree with you that shouldn't affect the legal choices of the board, but I think it does in some ways. These teams will not be playing for the next few weeks. So, yeah, that's important to understand. That I don't think it really matters. But also at the same time, Reece Hodge never got a penalty in his, and I agree with you, he's probably the lightest of the tackles I'm talking about here, but he never got actually any kind of card in the game, whereas the Samoans got yellows and the USA guy got a red card. So you've got to take that into account that they did already get slightly punished. So maybe that balances it out. So it's not really, in my opinion, they all deserve the ban. So 3 weeks, 6 weeks, whatever, they're all crying about it. Missing any World Cup game is a huge thing. So I don't think it's that bad that they got similar ones, but I know a lot of fans are arguing about it. Yeah, but one thing I would like to argue more about is the way that Australia, and especially Michael Cheikas and Reece Hodge, have taken this on. I mean, the other players have pleaded guilty and said, cool, sorry, we're all bad. We understand we made mistakes. But Michael Cheikas has the gall to say World Rugby isn't allowed to, and I've got to put the headline here, isn't allowed to actually dictate how we tackle. What? World Rugby is the only body that can dictate how you tackle. It's literally the body that makes the rules of the game. Like, as much as you say you teach your players to tackle on the midrow, if they're getting red cards and yellow cards or getting banned, they're tackling wrong. And I mean, this is about player safety. This is nothing more than, this is not trying to control, maybe you feel it's not the best way to tackle, but it's the safest way to tackle. And I'm not saying World Rugby's right. Get me wrong, there's a lot of people arguing that maybe they're not right. But the fact of the matter is, they're the people who make the rules. I also don't like some of the rules the South African government make. But somehow I've got to listen to them. That's the law. So just like that, Michael Cheikas, you're part of the World Rugby country. You've got to follow the laws of the game. So I just find it very odd that Reece Hodge goes and makes an idiotic statement like, I didn't know how the tackle rules work, or that they've changed, the tackle framework. Dude, you're a professional player. That's like me driving on the road and being like, oh, I didn't know stop streets work like this. Like, what? Like, that is not an excuse. It's literally just a case of, like, I murdered somebody and it's like, oh, I didn't read the law book that said you can't do that. Like, dude, you're going into a World Cup. You're a professional player. What were you doing for the last few weeks? And it's not like this is different rules in Super Rugby. Come on, or in any other tournament you play, Rugby Championship, same rules. Don't feign innocence here. You were wrong. Don't feign innocence. You already played guilty. You can't go to a court and be like, I'm guilty, and then go outside and be like, I didn't know. Oops, forgive me. Like, come on. Okay, so those are my little... I was just really annoyed with that article. I really don't like Cheikas. And the way that he's having his players have this, like, above the sense of the law attitude is just what I think the problem with the Australian team at the moment is. My opinion, of course. But yeah, I mean, getting into the things, obviously, I'm not saying World Rugby's right in the way that they expect you to tackle, but the fact of the matter is they've done research and they feel it's the safest way. And I mean, I agree with you that there are so many ways to interpret that. That's fair. But head-to-head is a simple one. It happens. And I mean, like, I know that even in this games, we've got the different variations. We saw where tackles with Porto was obviously giving different ones for if the guy was dipping. And I get it. Unfortunately, it is a grey area. We've got to understand that. But head-to-head unfortunate thing. So that's why I think it's quite an interesting one. This video that's gone viral now of Peter Stingler actually tackling Jonah Lomo in back in the day is quite impressive, considering the scrum he takes him on at the bootlaces with a beautiful tackle to take down a beast of a man. I mean, probably the most famous rugby player in living memory, in all time, actually. But I just find that it's impressive that it just shows you that unfortunately we've got to look at going back that. I know that for a while players started using that as a strategy where they would shoulder charge into the shin, which is obviously not right. So it's a case of the combination of the arms and those low tackles or something. Definitely players, if they feel that they're facing teams with much bigger players, that is where you're tackling. And I think it's up to coaches and that to understand that you cannot train all 15 players tackle the same. An example, Trevor Nyakane cannot tackle like Cheslin Colby. Cheslin Colby is a bootlace man. That guy tackles like he literally looks like a cobbler in the way that he tackles your bootlaces. It's like he's trying to stage your feet. The guy is a textbook bootlace man. Trevor Nyakane, I understand, he cannot dive that low. The guy's a big man. He's going to hit the ground and the whole stadium's going to shake a little. So, I mean, you don't want that. But understand that then you train your players for the position and where they're going to normally face tackles and the position of and the actual physicality of the player. Different players will tackle differently, but all have to be inside the rules. So I'm just saying, especially in your open play tackles and your try-saving tackles, the lower tackle has to happen. As I'm finding a lot of players just before the try line having this issue where the attacking player will duck to score the try, and the offending player will still stay up and be like, and expect to not hit his head. So, yeah, it's a tough one. It's a debate, and I want to have that debate down below. As you can see, I'm passionate about this topic. I think it is important to have player safety. But yes, please have the debate down below. Your opinions, your fields. Is Michael Cheikas right? Is Reece Hodge right? Should they have gotten longer bans? All of those things. Please leave your comments down below, your opinions and your feelings. Let's get the conversation flowing, guys. And enjoy today's rugby, damn it. Cheers.